to Bitilo with Mfali Fadera. You're listening to Bitilo with Mfali Fadera.
Assalamu alaikum badi la melalo ngali konto ngali bismillah Bitilo kibaro te jangal lal bari malo Mfali Fadera ngali bismillah bi arjumola dizemba karoti limwani worula mbenyin sango menkono tol membe la moy ka radio to Gambia banko kam album moy kam Vibes FM le 106.1 FM mem felenti manja kunda sate kono atol mem fanam benjibe kan dulal to tarinke internet oto for Facebook lem for YouTube lem bang wara TikTok ni Instagram sa fale ko alni Bitilo lem en kontantan se wota ngal soto jang ba flale falanko bawo ngal soto jang nsal dani doron al se subscribe na channel to tarinke sa ko YouTube al subscribe nyaming ak janjango fanan ka sonia wala nyama mo jamal fanan ka akibaro sodo wala nyama na subscribe ta fanam ninga fengo fen dundi ninga nyon kacha sifal dati ninga na documentary series ol dati ninga dati ka breaking news analysis ni coverage ke men kere kibar kuta kutol di men dundan kan drong al dabe tar la mo folol kono men ba kibaro sotlan kontantan se wota kamurna jam bi fanan ngal luntam buñaari mbale soto jang akeren defo kundingo e kontano nin sewoti ka soto jang akera moti malon ko atoman nukum moma ka fay ko Banka Manneh ndebe honorable lala kan ndefo wala ke bale Banka ko kera fendi malon ko aman nukum moma Gambia bari tumando bato mo jamal fana malon ngari realize ko na Gambia kulu kacha fanan kono wakasi abake anka molije kene balto e ka diamu banko la kola ka lo banko la kola bari jama jumale mu wo moti ning atara al ko mantara kibaro ning camera al fata ning Michael Soronda o mari mu jumalti ay simfa jumal tala balwo kono fa futata bi tembo mendo ni aje ndekala fi jama nim mol ko kacha because moliye kol men muta bi e be lorin kol menu kan ela mirobe nyamen ye simfal menta balwo kono wala ke futandi wot so wala atina ndeka je ko ka kumale as people ngasi nga kacha nga nyo faham honorable Banka nkontantan se wota ke soto jam insafwe se bule ni mole nyo kondo wokola ngana dum kacha kono
Fali mbe tentula mbe jayira it's truly nga nyi kelen defane bunya balti pour invite ni le programme to ngel programme ka follow bakere because programme mi yanan ko ngaje ko haklima kumol le ka chaje programme mi yanan ko ka banko fon nafa ba bakere mo jama balake follow Gambia jam because sila programme ul ha ka sahya ba bakere kumol min fanan ka faji e ka sahala so akande bunyati manke honorable tindo mo honorable ordinary person doronati barbutu akade bunyati ani hormo fana pour invite ni le programme don fana ngana na commandingol mi yalon ko e ma hakil ma ya ko modol taka ka nyamba to mando bije sen ka taru keno ko dol baraka ba
baraka ba ke ba ma kontantan se wota nge soto jang niaje ko honorable katung ayakata banko en bake wari sota num fawo ninko the struggle against Jammeh mo dantan no beje wol to kana mul hakilo sonna mo kono ni miro Banka Manneh bo kono coach Pasamba Jaw ba kono ani mo jamalu mala fika mol tol fo ngana lanjuro ke jang bari wala tin ndul ngaji ka ba kumala bakile ka fale ka bulo simfal noma ka jibe alla balwo be nyamen wo tembola kol be tembo men to Bitilo la ko nga fa nyamen pour mo le men yalon ko tumando bare mom bankalo te dinkala kono because bi lafta men na wala mo pour ngole fon kacha at fon sa fam fo molie ata mu menti anin ku jamal men yalon ko lebe dendinga la balwal bari pour mo men yalon ko tumando bare malo memu bankati banka mu Gambia dingol ti mem sabatita nun bantala bankolu kan adabulata mol kono menu lota nun kaje ko de falingo soto nun jang president ko to membe jang ay bo jang jamal ka fay ko di struggle bari aketa modi fana me alon ko dimbati yole mu bedu no kacal be kono aketa modi fana me alon ko ku jamal muta ye kolu men ke struggle kono fon futa bi tembo men dol bebe ke la fendi me alon ko mbaji bela kibama la fa nga follow demendo ko nga fa nyamem tumando bato mol keje mol ke to moy imalon e movement nse saba ko madamandi nga follow dindi yala ba isa fo molie yela dindi yake mintole anim fana ni atara kulbeje la dindi yakono men sotata isa fo no du ko men nako nyindunde ayente parendi sinin sama do ko kambale inata abula men kono nyin struggle la nim fen ko tangol sa dati woto
Barka bake tela ka fanyar lefan sorry na mole ben kol kamar ngal kolan nte wuta kombo burfurle burfur mane kunda ka fantul yalla mane kundal abe mane kunda ko da kilmol ti bari kabila min kabila be ñokono le fanan to la kabila ka fo effacé kunda dol say shafa mo jabab je ka fi banka kunda so bari wo mboto wolto nata boje kabrimbe duyare mbakele kasum fama ate just before akabang ay samba jara somala intar son tara kulu jara somala na sister buluje yes nganna dindi ya safo nganna primary school fango ngobe ke jarale jara soma je bari wado wato jara soma man primary school to follow so primary school benum pakalin dinne so tolu jara safo tundo be kabrin to ya tabalam bang sikunda karanta ba sankuya pakalin dim fango jinoy mbekata pakalin dim primary school so nte ganna dindiya be ke jarale tara pakalin dim primary school de nga comment trans pass natana boje kanana Banjul ndara jana St Augustine's High School Banjul wolen si Banjul fana mbije be akwolle bulije mbot fana nara move kata Serekunda kabre move ta Serekunda ntarata dina Dipakunda so nga Dipakunda fana nga high school laba woldo mbote je nga ntara hotel school ntara nga do ko ke briefly Caraba Beach Hotel and Atlantic Hotel mbota Atlantic Hotel leto ntara travel ntara US so in 1995 wolto mbota jankata US US panang bester wal nsafo Georgian so ntara wolto kabrin woto bester njeje leto o kabrin nata morna Gambia jam
alhamdulillah wasim fani yata bage iko be ikafanya dile jarankol ya ngala ne me saw
jarankol wala sa na ko mo ka bina kan ne sa ko na ko mo ka bina kan daman waro ni ko nga jara ni diam dan ko ay kakar je ke wala mbita ay sa ye jele ko fa he to jarankol di ay tol ka bla njita so ni ko mbita do kay na jaranga kan jelala lu sa mbe ko mo ka fa dan pick up kan daman so hopefully very soon make la fully fledged ko bon ko de back
jarankol la ko yata bari kebama ye isim falsata anyi nyata bake bari ye fen jamal sata ila kol dati dula nsafo ko politiko man dunje bake politiko dati te nyaadile inata bula ko nyaadi ani fana ni safo mo le fana wokono inata ta United States nyaadile ye nyori la bang foi famal tate faya ko kete nyaadile
ha yalo politiko Gambia ntolbe safo jawara jamano youth sol man politiko man bulane le ko kono bake aro parti fanan NCP le mo anin PPP competition ka taran wala tema wala ka compete doy fanan be around doy natana joini kan in 87 so ntol safo dinngol be yom boy sol anin gal safo fonnin kel dala nim fonnin siro doy la political le kan nyafano in those days because wala yalon we were all radical so ntol be laftar doy ko wala bari wo fanan na support ñim fanan manke no safo ko ngana campagne lale wala nga keten insaf na vulton ka doy ko ka ta wolto wa be diar de ko be diar ñe ba ke ba jamanu lan te fango insafo ko to ma dingo ka fu mi abbas mane wo se bo borta non doy ko no bakele itol atele fanka do ko monot doy nu so tol be doy le mun na fen ko ba insafo na activism fanam politiko da man waranu wo bake because among ka do human rights diamo fontinu akake non jama babiji government must be sunyaro la you be corrupt tale jawara man sakunda be corrupt tale na diamo jama bambi akaka wolti but nothing is afa min ko wulala le wala nga fam be kelten wala be kelten it was it was a low key politics fo nyama intela politiko safo kan dadum politiko kono to prokata seriously what happened da jamela jamanon la kabirin jame kurita ke in 1994 adiatan tol be no bakere enten one of those people mfo nga celebrate no ndara dada be contane fo ba fala ko fay ba fala mo le ko ha ko tinge bondi jele because wadan telephone be jawara la ko man aman biya nun saf barim fe a meta jele change fana man na ntol ka patili mi yalan ko comme doy wala ñomen ko wala support nga joko wolta win nola so mo mi se jawara bondi no jeddo mbolo ko don wala be diala nyanu bare you know molma akanu ning fijo nin sembo franna so kabri yaya nata I mean ayatran tolbe ka kulmin complain nu wala mu corruptionoti mbe wadon ko kuma jaba bale moy manyi minister dolu bije fa melom fa barka kumul moy la koto kulo yanan ko after was na discover ko dolu manke to nyati bare wa jo jamano la ka fanyo im fanko sabe sa fo ko nyoko ha sara jang ha ya fango sumin pulo bala bun kono kariya so ka kuma la ka fo ike kuma jama ba fala nyoko minister kare la dingolo ning le holiday sita drong ibe kata america le holiday be ke wolto ati ala korda fanko no la is e ba fala nyoko wadu lo ko minister do jira moto fo ka fa katu malarne isa so pupafu so naka kumol moy le moy kuma jama mi an ko after them to nada long ko duma babi je man ken to yar bari you believe them in those days ala wadu internet man soto social media man soto kuma jaba babi je ka fu mi talan to ka mi radio kankan wala be keren nu ite mfali ko mo fo jan sai ata vuto ntenga ko mo nyikan nan ko ite ko mo min fam fan inte ba aforo la do nta be nto fo la dem ba nta ba nyambas la nganta laaje nga da ko mfonga la to yala nga di law nyam parin sa fo ko nga moyle budita wol fada mi wa moy fada wol fada ta nyamba ko min ko ko janja nyami yalo in those days so kumo nyim bay taba aje nyenta foncate ko na katra kumo min fon pota bin fon da ko na nim kubo le la banka bin da ko no story li man clear at all ya nyambas le ya lafa ya sukuru ya ko be kala ko sa en kan mol ni mo bo ya be do ko kam fa fango government kam so kumo ka ken woni nyam so mbolo kono non jo ya jamina da bankota ka ba bankota na da dian to be baake kon fa yo abanta because wada ka kumo min fa fa ko ka rampant corruption, flamboyant lifestyle, or buzzwords so like a troll use can have corruption, millions of sunya, so we believe those stories in those days. So Banka Jammeh support le. But mbije inte la misgivings since for ning sobod na karola jala wala wo happen ta sana sabale dundolo mu soboda abrakan do wala panjul wato to inte banjul nu kabinga ngawtol do ko stade Biden so wato mister num banjul son to lokko to be to makro len so manda nin sanaw bi binal dro mo be kalon because silence wala katra kuma kan so na sanaw be tambila dro suba juno abe taba mo ba fa sana be tambikan so mbije dro mungkin ko to do na ra ko nyako he par sana la mo le ku ke bi ko minam ngamine ko mo dole be bo talla fo do ko fo mun to ba e kala moto nyin mole man bo silo kan juna yala mo sungo bunki dola so mbe sirin jen kom o ning wot so na because nte wo sifalu yayante yen moye ilimbali ako mfali akan min ken nan ning altala dronalo akan dimin bakale ni ake mola dron saje akan afek nyami ning altala dronalo so kabri ko mo fo ngako nyinen kaya mol ko asotale I started to say mol ka faman sa sojara mol ba fla ko sojara man sakunda aman koy de kadu yalon to la jang ni refugee min fon be pot nan Ghana wadon to la school sol be Ghana no leptia sol inte fon Senegal sense wadon to la tia sol sa ba 3 ko be Ghana no let wa fo lañu ko ni be ni aje be na tan Rollins lay be bor ndi Ghana sojara man sakunda so bari we did tol sa fa tol be fe omo Ghana ko le Gambian ko le te kala wanya so kabrenga kuma sifa moy so bona rasta ka duna karola ngomba ndro ko wuri nyama sakunda bina ko maybe nyanta kan ko la demande so mbije drong amamme November 11 kata nte November 11 nte bondi yaya na la muldo ni ko occasion mi yalan ko nambulo be kula karola fa be senara set ngom fay nyini wo kan nyini nte bola jele November 11 na wodi because November 11 ka baka da kuma na rakasta ka kuma je da juna bakela o sumanda fondan to lunga news nyon jama basu nte de mimbe num bunkilin num arab do ko NSS le waro it laka jawra kantum isa nada min ke NIA wal ka fo NSS waro NSS mo bukal ilo mo ko nan sa fo man fe man sa be framansa ibe do ko la le buka mo arrest ni mo la ko bugal ñokono ya ba bi katara jawra kanta kan ni be dolbe airport to so katara national secretary kul borum borna bare bukal fan ko jimbe NSS so wonna da somonda ko ñeko ne bugatra yo fanam bay do ko la abeni status ya bay so oben ila costa da kapia ninyi because never met la woni he was like a brother akonye ko ya mwele min katanka hana akonye ko nyine sojar le muti fa ya jawla fam kabrin kunu sure mo fala nka mo fa kwenye ha nka moli yala Gambia rayo kan kamemba molle bila dia molal kan danku akonya yo biti sibel iba ko da banu mola o su bobu suba juna o fanya so monda drong news be sate be kon ko mo fa leke mbijem sana fo ngata radio to ka ko there was a skirmish that in which some soldiers died kuma dama bari atala speech fa ya confirming te min fanya already comme mo ye mol fa tabri o fota drong te niyo ku yata ha wo so bolum fo ngan ni ku ya min keta nan atla drona yalo ye ko support ya be regret na support fana manke num fana ko kate ne nka fintile nga fen bari comme personally I supported the coup ndo support sifa wolu niyo ku yata bakele falli ay niyo ku ndi pa kele atina la Gambia fon sio fon ya ku yandi so mbi drong
keba ma janimbe tenten na woro on that particular case on November 11, what was it about November 11? Isafu menako ayeni okuya to the extent that ye molu menu kanunung ye jiko soto nungito ko ebe falingo samala after Jawara la Mansakunda. What was it about November? Because ni even sana ngamoyle even hantiarasi akam to ko amandi misa menke November 11 la pe ye menke wala correcta because you know la faka kudeta like. What was it about November 11 me ye ikamfa ye okuya to the extent that ye jiko men soto no nyundo ijikilateta ya datika jikilate la karola
yalo ntango sobo min soto nje in fact sai ngo sobo na confirm ni sai safo everything has become clear to me ko min ka fo an min kete e mankilia wala nyinte ko nyimman ko kudeta man plant nte at that time I already believe ko ni lefta sojoro le purge la lefta molle bi jemi ko lefta they want to ila fe wol bondi je be pare fana ni sobi telefona ko yaya man secure here ina katara be ka diam ma bale fonu aman secure andung abela flaka ku ke ko mi yalan ko ibe so abaso jarol silandla pour kana wula kam so no so bostron that time kono because ko story min fonte ko nyoko ha ko nyiri wulta la pour ko deta ke ko no ni mo la punta pour ko deta ke ita de ko yo arrest le because to wala story ni min be ka fonte across the board mo be ka fanyo kelemanke ko ñini tara le ñini eke arrest le comme ina nan somonda do ko le ke arrest sambe tefa yo le fonto le no so to me mo le ko le da krete o arrest fa pareta iko sambaleta ya kitindi ya soro ika ko le nyama ibu ko tamare ya muta do eta ya fa so even in those days in the human rights issues I was very familiar with them because nka reading ken bakel so ñin ka mom la den ka tajirinte ya wala ko haninte wado hani ka tajirinte aku ya ke mola aka kuyenya aka min kana ni aldrona kala akan malon dala ka fonga react mbuka sino nga nya fon kasno wala inte be sini mi be sini blato moy tajirinte aku wala foni be fe akono de ban so be akono inte mbuka deno afon afe fonga so kabin akumo frante nga insobita ko andum nsafa ndankina don fanan ko that time ko kudeta man kuman tra caring ngini lafta mo le mtali lafta eliminate la itara pour que bondi ko na ke fa limbal yakam andi wala ke fana so ngolo mutambul fana ayatine la ko kuyata ni baake ila ko kuya sifa ben kenyen atla dornalo ngaminante overnight nte I went from admiring these people to come ka vie muta ya kon I sonno mo kono ya kon nga you know ken kadiam num fana nin dal dawda te kan de no sifa kan I just say it nga fo ñini bet ñini timbali afale may bayado wala telephone la kule maklin civilian on la follow ñam so han wato mulka diam ndul kenole mulka la sulul fanam fono le jamandi e ka complain nole ko ha min be kere nga mangina kela ñin so jarol fo mul mal le telephone na mulka kuma da bal fono wade man nsa fa timbali afo man na civilian lo kam follow so mbije I mean before you know it to make matters worse ñing atodum fang korosise ya fa korosise la fa kadu kata atrante nga ñini konne already nte korosise la fa kabra kata drong nte right away nte ko ñine ko ñil ko mole ko ñille korosise fa mol ba fala iko ala moto le accident soto wulo ko na janita nko ko moto be accident soto be jani ñimbe siri moto ko na ay be jani ji nko that's not true nko ko ñille ñim fa at that moment, I really wanted to get out of this country because I felt that this bank was saying the civilization. Because because currently what I make soldier for the civilian all. So it can soldier all time explain away.
I tell him minister member.
I tell him finance minister at that time, correct. So I tell ko benu nyaming I mean, you can sojoro ta explain no le nung away. Ika foko high la fa kudeta la kela ni fa kelo lo kono. So ko diam si fa kelo no mojo ba ka believe wala. But the is that there was no way if ko explain no nyama sense for me. So on thing al ko nyin ko lafa, and it was met with total silence. Imam comment ala kola after a nara wulial start ha koro ala motolo kono no matter accident so nonsense dia mun men ko niya mo ifo ni ma hakili ma defan kan nyimman sense for me. So I mean woni nan ta na anina ta America man jam fa jola fo akata drama me ba kan ta bata jam ndefta America lu minna olu fo ngol tan dia mo start to complain about this.
Ela ta America, how was it like? Is it because you were nung kulela o idata la nung kukudo le CJ?
No, nta kudo le America. Min kata nteni an American le met anna mita fon kudeta fato fon de kudeta lungo fon le na mita. It wala nata wala benum Gambia jang. Ado hotelo fon to je mo jamba fa ko CIA la mo ito le ben ko yalla wato kabi yaaje mo kudeta nung American la worship la minun jang a doctor jang.
Yes, me sada da samba.
Me sada da samba. So mo ba fala ko imagine American la worship min na je tele ñu kudeta be orchestrate. Comme mo be so be nu American la ba ka nu ko o kuma be janja nu all over the place. So atebo in fact nza kudeta lu fo fa day before wala na tafta Gambia. So nala ko bla ñoko no ay ngere kay like nala ko bla ñoko no hotel to jëm katara kacha ba ku janga bala. So ka ba ka ko ñoko atol ako ñoko ñi general ataka fo general sol ako ñi general sol mi yalla ako ñoko I think ibe jëm bank be ba tinyala ako nyala bank is going to go through some serious problems. Nka ko yewolo ñaari la ko ñoko no ako ñoko nga Africa travel back la nga ku janga bala kananki Africa ako ñoko nga ñi di ñami they don't ako ñi man the temperament sort of to rule. Ako ñi modu naman temperament ni sort of ako ñoko it doesn't take long before I move across. So, but this was an early part of the coup. So I didn't take him very seriously, honestly. We were happy ko jawara bota jile, that's it. We are just glad about that. But in Kudo Narantela, they basically confirmed what he was saying. So Kabrim Bije, another Akonyoko Ntebesela America Bari Nana. So, but again, I didn't take him very seriously, to be honest, because, you know, Gambia Benunyami Wato, everything was okay. Yes, everything was okay. Can't say that I mean, I don't go for granted. Malak for seriously. Okay. I go for former final American. I no left all America. Especially left out of school. So I would love to come there to that school. Don't worry. No problem. I will make sure you come. Because it left Tala school, which is fine. In a restart school, but left because I don't think you understand what is about to happen here. So you know, maybe Mulka CIA, maybe Karola Kanaki or something. So I literally thought there was going to be a war or something. So Kabring in Sojarul Fan was Ifan. It basically any day this country can erupt. Because in Sojarum Fata, most likely if enough friends will be given. And the world friends will know. Coming African in those days from
left over because ila sobo se isahaya no lanum because wo tembo lanum Africa kono kudeta sembo siata num. Ghana, you go to Sierra Leone, you know, a whole Africa Caribbean la kudeta be kekan num. E kaje nin kudeta keda many kudeta ke nyole nyo kudeta ko so it was understandable.
Exactly. So ate kabla wo fanye mal kumota serious, to be honest with you. But eventually kabini signs will start to manifest. You know what? For maybe he knows something I don't know. Then Yimbanko Karadami, what the Kankaf Mole, Jang. Me so like kelebe kela janda mi to ndo jabe garawla ba mo se mo ko nya to muslim banko tan nga dua o be nga tank won ko no, but I was beginning to rely on his words and I was beginning to believe him. Maybe he knows something I don't know, because you know banko be nyami was very tense. Let me put it that way. So mbije kabrim pengera drong ako lunda yon call ako nyoko sa ite janna do, are you still in ka ko? Yes, nka saying I want to leave. Ako nyoko mine ka tanka no. I'm beginning to see the signs I think this country, any day, some serious war is going to take place in this country. What a mulman human rights school ma wuli fulo mulman tra wuri kan coming ka for activism ka jaya ka jafi ka keteng no mol bebe is fankar no safo was just what bebe tenkudi no but you could tell something is brewing ibu kalom minam ko kule be kurkur kandal bari ibu kalom mine for the kere so I mean mon bebe o de wala kono no and at man visa for nyine ngakele councilor nyum call I had the visa at the easiest way. I cancel a call. I couldn't call. I put on an visa dinner. So, but even that time, my intention was to just go and come back. Man, kasi America man kanung I really wanted to do it. No, yeah, I wanted to go and come back. Yes,
and come back.
So yes, but coming karaje kasi si meja mending mering wala jeten katraje. Well, never because I Gambia diatanya baba back. I love this country. All of Mohanso be mulka for the casino Gambia I feel I'm always Gambian. I love this country. So yes,
nga demento jibe saying kebama wala mu itata nyame America yo satale and then inate move to je ngaje ko comme nga ite ni nyamen na kol kono inata faramansa men wala mu ñu struggle di sol bare la fay ñin ngamne at what point lem ya decide because amanke ko mumutata America automatically e ka yelemale nanang yeke ye dabla mol kono men ka kelo ke ka jambe bondije mu neketa nun me yete ñori ke bula wo ñong mol kono
yalo nte follow no nakwo be conversation be yala kola was mainly relegated to Atlanta community yintoji ndara kulli laminto nga diamu keje nintara sanga be fenkat even though event tara jense complain about yaya nga pala mole ko jenta wula nyina kola la jenta kelte so because what of Gambia el wol be kerin nanin fenkolu bari nte personally I don't know why in current call jibel mainly ask for the diam can someone lemon ta ku ken ke be jibel wala nyam so every time now nephew whatever we was big into Gambia el astra fa ko dad yenta jone Gambia el ni conversation mi ke fatan go na diam na telephone raka katara wo diam sifan he realized this guy is very passionate about this so akonyo ko ida join Gambia el na ko no ol diam ken so katara wala je ma mere
mune mu Gambia LD pour mol
no nani tra forum te fanan kali kelke Gambia L was one of y'all Facebook man in those days nyen Twitter and Facebook will be man in those days so nyen forum so cafe listservs or listserv le kele email ta ya register ji the new email send everybody gets it that is registered on the platform so listserv ni so ba Gambia no kataka chala je ka kuja ba ka cha gambang ko kulika fundraising no keje kuja ba so mbolo kono finally ka ko okay ali mfenke je so ayenke Gambia el bar man mboka franco read bar mboka communicate I was so for me personally I was always looking at kam fa ko ajere ni jam ke tra wole man ta so but what really changed all of that nkana wol fa ngote all of 2000 student demonstration on because student demonstration on for some reason for me that was a red line malong I don't know why it was the case because outrage me feel I have never felt outrage like that up to that point. It was to me a defining moment, if you will, because kabi okatal wrong okay ngamira we are dealing with a monster and we don't even know it because anybody who's going to gun down students like this then nobody's safe in that country anymore because up to that point fanang kababa korosisela there was a lull in that kind of brutal killings. And people will always question. In those days, hey, evidence at all. So sometimes they'll get you bogged down in this silly debate of Mercedes Benz explode. So they drag you into the conversation in a way but it didn't make any sense, but it got show for so, but the students today was very crystal clear. I think that one mobile sensibility I will tire affect in a very, very interesting way. For the first time, not only me, but more me and Kongaji man Gambia ko me sula nung baka nindi amte nung Gambia ko la. Ibukanta seriously wale ibukanta kumo ibuka sulo kala. Ngaji will be start all of a sudden they were angry about it because all of a sudden telephone calls started coming in. I come in for you la ko to nyalam. I come in for you la ko to nyalam. Ijibe dinu te ko well the meter for and so that's when I decided, you know what? Maybe I need to get more active about Gambian affairs. I need to really see what I can do. So I was starting to ask around, Jang, is there any group organization that is doing anything about the Gambia? Because to me, political parties supporters they are not serious about change. So, but that's when I really started to ask, who are these people that are really fighting for Gambia Fenke? Because on Gambia L, conversation but it was mostly fighting. Kelol. The fitnot rek katrawal. Yende ite afa yende attack so ibo kuma saharin fongs to no kono. Dia mo kono because nite kuma fo drone ni mi pronse to na la be attack la je. So fitno la ka sianu nje so mte la bon kasile. Nsa avon kasile 2-3 months mboka mi email fo jibe because I was just turned off by akakenu nyami. But this for the first time I started saying maybe Gambia L1 ninyin fankulalo. Mo nda mura jele ngaji be mo sabin keno. Something needs to be done. So I'm asked morning in Atlanta, there are any groups doing anything. Because you can protest from Catalaya, Mamma back. I'm going to protest them. When you call student on lab, protest. I'm going to names of Fonye, and then all of them were political activists, political party members on them. Could be UDP members on people being called me Atlanta. Yarafa Wole, you Kafunya Metara, CNN, the protest. So I'm going to from Calabafon. So I'm going to okay. CNN headquarters Atlanta ji. So ko
maybe many along ko ma faham abe student April 10 11 mena wole mu 2000 and I think 2000 or 2001 bidin karandingol findita I think la batay tan di ko dolla ye tanko kunda mo kay jamal be kono
yeah so I mean nsa fon tela cool for na ko base at a world na concern coming ka wuli no ka wuli ko ka wuli param Gambia kola that's the all of the moment so I'm bige tolo ko bo fen ko bari ala wato ni activism fana nyim fana be nyami everything was in DC nim ani protest fana sort function few people often very few people o dantan dinding wala kata DC je embassy to je ne noise making ya for Gambia elko yeah titala DC embassy le la pulke je so you know I was following those things and I'm like no we need to do better than this we get wrong na ya land sol in Bufudjang I will front a basis wala kra land crisis the ning fank kabri kola fanu fola ngamele la fanu ning kaba Equa Summit AU Villa correct AU Summit tabo kananu ye lands jama policies no ay pour ka fenkes non to la family lands on lit ay policies chew na family land nga be inherit mane kunda lands on ya policies so yo fumo fo nyen ko bari nyen ko nyen ke this one was around 2002 found atra benna chochola nyen kulu kono bari man je back o nyama fon folon wado fa America fa ko nga fa nyami mol buga kuke chocho kaysun katara wala nu ni demonstration be kala mo dantane ta DC embassy to je demonstration ka je mbengo foko ha ngame ko DC le ngo celebrate but nothing kabo fa nting kom fa no you know yeah what we cannot sit here and because ñu ko bi da ka nyami nimbe kombe just calm down la nga cool blaji we cannot do that we need to have a vehicle to really start something that is going to do something. But yalong minkeda fanang ayatrale nte already I was active in the community affairs in Atlanta fanang. But at the local level, local quilting, in July 4th quilting, organizing coming event quilting, I was into that. That time. Politics nka complain wolto bare mbuka mamanji like coming krip karam nin DC nin protest kada je mo dan tan kata je ngor celebrate ndenga fa ye ngame ko coach wolta DC embassy le ko jete and then that's it there was nothing so no we can do better we can do much better than this. We need to set up a vehicle to really bring about the change that we really, really desire. And that means we have to be fully engaged and fully active and really start to do concrete, impactful stuff. And at that moment, I made up my mind for this is what I am going to do. Mommy fine, fine, but this is what I'm going to dedicate my life to until I see the end to it. So from that day, I never looked back. Because Dr. Ablai Sen made a proposal on, again, when you list also, I was on Gambia L and Gambia Post. What do Gambia Post for another? So Dr. Sen from post on the list of what we need to do is we need to have a vehicle, me and kind of fundraising vehicle and then also activism. Basic d'accord no minna. Akanaka dronko political party da mal wolle ba be façon ko wala ni UDP wulta ndodo be danko ni ndon fana wulta UDP be danko so mo be ifanye buga ni struggle min be no nyam mo be we are very very fractured mol buka kel an ko kelo la fang ni lista for ni darje you just want to tune out right away ika mol to fop mol kanyo bane you know you can understand. So I saw this and come somebody now finally came up with something I can work with, because I'm all for the tangible stuff, something I can touch it. So I basically, jump on board. I mean, I fully supported the idea. So never focusing. Until me and we embrace the idea and Jo Sambolo, Musaja Wolu, Coach Wolu, Karambature Wolu, another like a broad coalition of Fananti. Because more than the idea you embrace, they came from different for the first time we are beginning to have people, me and they are speaking totally different languages politically, are beginning to converge on an idea. So personally, you know what, I think this is a defining moment for this talk. So another was let's so another for you invite Atlanta and saying let's have a meeting in Atlanta and then set up this concrete, formalize this thing into an institution that we can use as a vehicle for the struggle. So moving at Atlanta, we had a meeting at Morehouse College, and Molbot now all over the place, North Carolina, South Carolina, DC, Florida, everywhere, people flew in. So we had a big event over there, and we set up this organization called STGDP, Save the Gambia Democracy Project. So we set up Olule, so until the treasury of the Franconia, and then we had Kebafun was the chairman, the chairperson, and then but basically we had all this opposition be the mobile. So until I became the treasurer. So basically, Habib treasurer and take a vice treasurer, but Habib basically yielded to me. So I basically was the one doing the treasury role. So mas nyama niko struggle niko a defining moment when finally something concrete bringing everybody together and we're beginning to have impact. That was the entity that really started struggle. It was a defining moment for the struggle. It really was. Wow. STGDP. And Kabri Wakata, because I'm more better unite. Then STGDP started to look at what do we do? How do we work with the opposition parties? So we started fundraising.
Lafakana will found Mr. Manneh, like because struggle for some people beyond what they see online, freedom, other media outlets will men not a findy, but from Safela about Jammeh. Jamal Beji, their idea of the struggle was just that. Come more big Gambia bantalale. Many along to call me in Gambia la eke post to Freedom newspaper, Gainako, and in all these new online people, many along people used to go and use Nyimfenko, anonymous site to be able to access them, VPN or Ninkol.
Yeah.
So if you can take us through briefly maybe, some of the major things struggle can menkenu molbuka menuje. Kaji ko ye preso la Yahya Jammeh kanung. What would those things be?
Yeah, one of social media sites on like Facebook, Mansotono.
Yes.
I mean, I think I remember there was one that came up was it High Five? No, High Five now.
MySpace. MySpace.
No, MySpace after High Five. High Five, yeah. So I discovered Gambian youth soldier Mababi. This was before Facebook. So Antara joined gay and but they are not crazy about Gambian politics. Discuss but I was already always exploring what platforms to go so that I can publicize our activities and the things we are doing. Because now we are being list to come in Gambia Post. The main discussion forums so activity being was just unbelievable. It was too much. Fundraising events, demonstration organizing Walto, advocacy cool be Walto, about the struggle, and that was this struggle. Outside those, there was no struggle. Nobody Gambia and the political parties or activities. Well, later but forum. So there was another coordination between us and those in England. So James Bahumulu, any European UK Bama Maswol, Sundutura will know coordinate. So they were working from UK, but we are working from the US. So we are coordinating a lot of things. So every area, you always had people there coming to Norway, and more different people. They were active on these platforms too, on Gambia and Gambia Post. So if I don't be we are part of that, but what Gambian broader Gambian community because it was more seen as an elite forum.
You have to be part of the group to see what they do.
Yeah, all these things. So when somebody doesn't, and it's very easy to get turned off, and if wrong, it made time to really read through all the communications going on. Communication of Mianko is so nasty. About serious constructive things. The wrong. They knew attack la, they make up, they think sometimes was not so civil at all. So Nita ye tarinkete ye register ye, it be email sifa threat sifa le fe. Ya read ya jeni be foka ya je ni ko be fan list la itela hajo. So because so but nimi na real time ta realize wow, there is so much activity going on. So but more malo so covering migration I'm one of the first people mean but Facebook, because eventually I literally just I would tell you this thing. One of the forum owners of George Sar, he's one of my best friends, but now some kind of forum or tell you Gambia post la quietly into Facebook. So I moved on to Facebook, and there I felt like this is the place. So I started to really I started my activities on Facebook to be more sort of louder on much more louder on Facebook. So eventually that's how I came to set up Gambia Youth and Women's Forum. We start forum to really make the conversation, because before Gambia Youth and Women's Forum, none of these forums allowed a political conversation. Because from political
Gambia Youth and Women's Forum koma.
Start.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So, but because I went to these Gambian forums, ninga political maja they can comment from a delete. Delete. So anything is political, they deleted it. So I was like, you know what? No. So I went ahead and set up Gambia Youth and Women's Forum. So I set up Babu Njai Salana joining Fiji, did a brilliant job of to grow it, and in Farsana Wulu at New York. So we'll be now joining Kanje. So basically, a lot of these guys started joining Palai Wolu. We'll be now joining Kala Palai. Palai now joining Kanje. So all these people now joining Kanje. So now forming town now grow. And it was the only place at the time. Me uncle, you can go to Mindiate Yafo, Mindiate Yasafe, Buka Delete. We had very, very robust conversations over there about the Gambia. So that also started to attract a lot of people. They started to join into that forum, because this is the only place where they can discuss politics. So it became the go-to place for Gambian, for all things Gambia, really. Conversation baker can in jail to Alan Franco. So if you go there, I'm still admin. I'm active dealing out to Sala or Baron, but I'm still admin.
Because Gambia Youth and Women Forum was really central.
Yes.
Gambia quarter, ni lafta alon nanu Coleman Beke, ni lafta newspaper other updates from other online people, more positional on issues. So it's really fascinating Kalonko Eteleba Koko Manu.
Yes, ito lang nga
ñing ka mena ñin diaspora struggle ñing mune be atol men yalo al jigita men nako al sa keno mol men be Gambia te men keno la pour que mako ro ka kaje ko fale ngoy sodo no at the time.
No, at the time we had everything se min keno mi Gambia ta keno la akote ban na fa. Because all one we had the freedom to speak. We had the freedom to mobilize. We had insa fono mane kanto. Ntoloka min diata nyanka wala fono. Min diata nyanka wala keno. Min diata damin diata nyanka ta wolto. Kodo min kodo res nyamin diata nyanka wala ke. So we started to really we took advantage of these things. Mi ano Gambia wado molbuka diamuno. And political party members so wado UDP ko le be momim ta ye exile ye dol torture ye dol fa abugaba. So really we started to say really until we become the voice of the voiceless. Bol mi anko man ko min fono Gambia ba falan to lega dun to da to ngaf. Imam kol min kero ya fon to len to ba kela. So we started to really do that. So protest na SGDP ko kono na demonstration ko be bla kono. Now we can mobilize the masses. Ninga demonstration ko command sai mo kasial. Because I mobe be speaker with one voice. So nga start wol nyama ka fundraising fananke inka political party so nke la campaign wol ke sponsor nke mi political money mo mi mutan nga kodo ta nga meso nga lawyer ta mari makoy. So we started to work with the political parties on the ground and nim pengadan budum party bota ni samana America inana ngi nga samba tola ete ila sulo ni ku alfa molie and Europe fanga make sure ta Europe ni blal bit. So we were working with them very, very, closely. Kabiring Oje Lembang, Usain Lembang, Ahmad Ba Lembang. At the time, the political party leaders, Kemesangolu, all of them. So, let's have a summit. Me and political party solu, the leaders will be invited so that we can have a coalition. New coalition, the signed. 2016. It was it's a follow up to what happened back in 2003. In 2003 nga meeting bala kumano Atlanta. Nko be na nga meeting teje pru be nga kacha nga fenko so ntol mi anan ntol ba ko champion kante Musa Jawul coach wol. That was a small problem. Ntade Musa mi anan ko we want to use Ajera in a local organization in Atlanta waron ntol be dum active nga ko kono ntol ka July 4th organize ntol ka student fanan graduation ntol ke organize student ntol ka student sponsor name momin sa fanan ka kodo race ka amare la family mako. So the community organization embraced it was the community organization community economy and ko Gambian mako ko bela tew for outside Atlanta fango ni mol fenkata other states is an call na nge mako. So nada for so July 4 mi binakan nko sa be July 4 la use la pour que ñu parti les invite na nana ninata then nga nie coalition ko kacha. So people among within the organization or local organization, there were people there me anko wolu, there were some of them were even sympathetic to the APRC at the time. Wolu ka kala iko organization politicize can design we are using it pour politics dundi
political dundi
so nada fa okay all right sa mba minkela mbe government fana invite la. So Esa Bokarsi was the ambassador at the time. Not to invite Prate Nana, but over the last minute, Nale kind of Karataji, in Banka Musaji Wolaba, Komaya told the anti-government. So it's a trap. Neither I believe Kumasiva fight because last minute I'm a nana. So you but Usenu Nata, Fenke Yahya Jammeh Nata for UDP, Fenke Oje Nata, Ahmad Ba Nata, no Dulo Ba Nata for Ahmad Ba, Aninjama Halifa Salah Nata. I can go through this, but anyway, the political parties will be the representatives. So Kabila then we're meeting Kono, Joe Sambu, and Keba Fun, and Modrame, will not have they are going to have a meeting at Morehouse. Prukayin coalition talk from Kakaoto instead. So until not yield to them, so until not because until because we are trying to get away from the idea of Molia politicizing. So nada will better for so we'll Joe Sambu Keba Fun will tara coalition summit in Tayake Jana Morehouse. So coalition summit keta Walto agreement kadoko ninata they will draft an MOU then to have a coalition. We'll look at the 2006 coalition, but before the coalition election it break up because they couldn't agree on a leader. So they all went on their own. So but that was a very good attempt. America but still we rally we support Kakoro race make sure a rally be sponsor. So we became non partisan fenkolum dal. more because nim ko kono mo bele be dunji ñin karambawol dol be UDP jana to dol UDP lini mol be jana jos ata jo sambu wol be doy kata coach wol be doy ñin Amad Ba fana mol be je NRP so mo bele be ni go ñin kono dal so and so nim fundraising ngama man dim ak successful back so ka partisol ma ko indi la ko ko ndel ka fenk nim fenk la franka demonstration la fana organize then all over the place then nga make sure nga vanol rent ani motom pour ka ngata demonstration min DC lemba wala New York lamba nga ka wal nyama so so basically personally I started to become very very active in the politics itself, not just at the local level on community activism, but on the political activism. This is when I really was going in and out, but travel, doing all kinds of stuff, demonstration lembang, advocacy lembang, fundraising lembang, you name it. I was into all that, using these things as the vehicle to actually do it. So I mean, 2006 we failed. 2011 we tried it again. I failed to Koteke, but in the meantime, then finally 2016 another successful. So, but unsa upon the pool kumasa wala nyama kuja bala kata won in 2016 tema but na pool be unsa upon na activities na aka wajabita wala nyama dal.
No, Ali kata bakele definitely. Cool that is nyaming, you know, come yafa nyaming. Ali simfal doman tama. Ali killing tama for cool be na raso nyoka. Andum Ali kuja mala fanan ko kono come ka fa nyaming ka Gambia la quota ka landi kenabato. Yidu hani wado men ndol benum Gambia. You cannot imagine kontano men ka dundo misal fe ningaje on BBC ye Gambia la ko cover je o Amnesty report of thinking about Gambia. You know, you feel like you are not alone. So niye mol so de be banta e be diamla la ko la e be lo la e ba ko champan la wo fanan kan gisula num baake akan wakelendu num baake. Bari la fake ñin struggle man ke fen sone arinde. Ko ayta ndi nyamen wato le ka dunje nafulo le ka dunje. Bari fanan this was at a time when Jammeh mo jamalu jikindi menna ye landi menna no Gambia wala mo ko nyimol membe struggle kono banko jawol lel muyti, you know, probably, you know, I don't know how you navigate with that ebe molu kono bari modul fanam beje ila banko nyaton ko li ibar sobindi kam molla hanal badi ngol fango kariñol mam bete a Gambia jawol lel muyti, you know, what were some of the challenges you had to deal with then ngani struggle ko kam fande we look at other things.
Yeah, the biggest challenge we had to deal with in suffering, the biggest one was to convince the Gambians ko crime me yalke be fakaron TRC ko Yahya Jammeh be commit. That was very, very challenging because at that time ngajele ko Jammeh bondo je nimma delegitimize comme mol fo ya start ka je ko ning to yato ning iblisa man tole be nyokoro da pour mol yo to believe no was very, very, very difficult. Because by this time, you know, now we had the online media. Pandir Bible do not join and struggle kono. Ole ate freedom newspaper set up. Nita fana kata freedom every time nim pandirim be cool kachala. You know, mbije fadu kamara fana nata. Ofre fatu network start. Mbije demba balde wol fana gana kokmas. Mbije sundutu do wole, you know, another platform set up jana nimba mamas wolu. So platforms will not see. Gambia Journal Fanang Baisar Fana was to start. So inside for platform on the CIA back for the baby informational blast can out. And you be Esa Bokasi will friend begin Hello Gambia and Baba Hyderawal. So by they were getting the sources on the ground. Ibe information so can nankai but I decided so what information nada nin mol ba fokan intel be choice na mol fan call in the Gambia ba fole ko he ya bunali am mkunu ngai minke hani they couldn't believe this. If you can't believe in the so it turned around left bankola. Instead, those people can believe Atella. Because it came miracle are so outrageous. In their heads, will come out to 20 or 20. So now maybe ya can to and Tulumbanku in Jawel. So our own relatives, model body will be we are because some of them come in for among sense from me. More follow because understand. So one of the biggest challenge faced on that is government convince ya mo falati and tajirin ke molum and abe munke kam Gambia dingol la nyantam fam bod la ko ibuka understand at all. So nyimu challenge balde in the end we just look like more men come political diamola tendron political and the wala. And until fade and most of us mental no political tambita wala. This was a fight for survival. Gambia Banko Fonga was very soul. Mbole Fankam Banko Fonga Neo na Landulan, the Wolf Tankakan. Prum Kanam Fanya Kuko Mian Kaskin Sama Masi Bejaw. But it's on Niba Foko Masibo Kikan already because believe I can't follow ida man kende ya o molle ke fenke ha ba fole banina ba fole ha ba bolle ko dila pour banko to tinya so wol buka understand no ay ko nyin kol min ke fo nyim ani be pare ka bol fa nyami mo fa nyin ka jaw ya nyami ninga fo ka wol nyama fanan ibu ko fanan fo buka believe na so this was a big the biggest challenge pour ka ya la ko be tiara kabra 9 in the 9 in misolaifa jana ya mile 2 wala wala Gambian
I think dead row yefa
exactly kabra ka drum mo be ko fa ya fa nyimu mo falan that's when many people really believe ko yes mo fala and then from there on thing I realized ko mbadi won ni ko be yala mo fala for they were listening finally now they want to know more I jamala from fa aninjama but by then the list was so long it was not even funny because I'm telling you the list to prepare no Matu, thanks to Matu Jallo at least don't prepare he was keeping a tab on exactly so I'm going to listen in sunyate blokono so I'm different listen in tanka ni kukara ngala faje ni kukara ngala so we ended up with a very long list of crimes me anko Jammeh commit so nka list tang ni momin ko ya mi ne ka dan ko list ta personal ngasa ni ko here is a list. It had all the people I mean execute no, I mean fan no, I mean torture no, I mean exile no, I mean I think like a moment na be list. So we had a complete list at some point. Yeah, so this was how
you talked about the disconnect with Gambian. It was deliberate on Jammeh's side because amanson nun kibatala nin kiba jenjennal fana ye fan sotonu because ni fan sotonu mol balon na la membe ke kanu. So wala na Gambia kolendi wol fanama. So all of it was deliberate. But pour la moy lal ni jibe lal men yalon ko wolel kafuta masay al nim Bitilo lemu al nal bari malam falli fadera ni membe ka kanjang wole mu Banka Manneh di Banka Manneh kete modi malon ka to man nukun sakofan ni na kalo banku dingol la hakko ni nyanto la karola bari fanan kelo fanan melon ko le sotanun kaje ko de Gambia ya bo Gambia fan soto kabo maranya jabo kono melon ko president ko to Jammeh yewele la dun kan Gambia banko kam Banka kontan dan se wota keso jan silang struggle kan alia kata bakele ala yalon kila yalon ko ngafa nyamen tumando bado atul bukalon bar ntol men benun ko kononun ibeje ife manan kuntela ife nying dandulata la betar la nying kono lo fe faw ibo kono nyama ye molu fanan soto men yalon ko aliyalon ko nyun banko la ko yesulale ebe loring ka diamu ka koluke aka molu wakilin dunum baka molu lafanu jikola Banka lafta sila nga demendo jibe wole mu struggle kono di hanibi bari nga jibe ke kodo la meni alon ko lel sotata adabe ko kujama lel sotata bari one of the things I think many alon ko they were defining moments for the struggle was ko meni alon ko lel sotata nun December kono 2014 waketa nun boyin kan wote meni alon ko lel sotata nun Gambia banko kan sojer boyin kan nga molu soto small meni alon ko be struggle kono hanibi yaje ko nga kujama le kata mbati nga kudo fanan jibe laftale mol samba kachani mfango dadita damendo ana dadita nyame biri nyin ko kachata ibenu mintole ani mun kulel fana nato ning ila miro kono non
we bet December 30th 2014
December 30th attack ni mention 2014
attack in the storehouse wo come here fana kere defining moment in this struggle because actually more desperately mbakele I mean, instead of the December 30th was show of desperation was December 30th. Multa le fom barata. Toli nyongolo ngada nga protestol kele fom barata. Mbunda political party la kuo la fom barata. No kuo ite kuo kulo nga bereke. Kesa mambo jabato. So mbolo kono nte na friend lola mu na badi kende ba nsa fom manka na friend na badi ngola fong. Kartu nkeri abeni motema. Wada katale fa ke badi yati. Naka ate bom badi insa fom badi ngolo ading sun ko ndi woni wala ta cancer soto so cancer ni badi no nyata wulta America le bari to be Gambia gande so cancer ni nata butandi baki so nata fa yent na la America pour kana treatment so na da treatment la je then treatment nyimman na successful la metam bulu jere famo nam so bama ni bama wol nga to proje nga penke bara alnata kula nyamin yalan ala ko na la nyamin to fon accept po nyam amanna nada tribe ni te decide ko no ta make to so nada wala murunna nana tan non so nada because ntina no la Gambia ndenda Senegal so la parents on nada kama mbuliji so mbe Senegal o fanan akitanye another ke fan ko te fanan because Senegal je nga meeting jama basto je with Senegalese officials, with human rights organizations, with even the US embassy officials, with mo jama ba wono taro ko ci now mbe boka worsilo la mbe se kan America because ngami nga Senegal nga won mon ke jele na man si awti fam meta jel damandi Dakar ji so mbe se wala wolto airport je ni la min sane benta ji barinte mate londinde batel londe because mbe jedo ala muso ka fo horja kay ko kim lamin inem bankat so ana ba fa ray konton na nyo konton ko nyoko anu defana ni nam so fa mo dental to lamin fa apparently fa ko mo kiyan to bota nam so ba mawol do de bra kiyan sa te klin tankular ako nyoko defana ndene ilam so fa mo bari ni te man nyolo ko nya bari mbe sulari ba kala fele ali baji ala jibe yaji ala minke ko nyoko bi mfele ni na benjang nka well that's good ako nyoko na ne American embassy mo fon kata ne in ka pour benner American la fa gejare indi fight pour ka jame bondi ci bari ita ini Amadou Diané to ye wala dinna e ko ngal dum satul contact nka ko nyanka okay wonte bas nka ko se ka chano bari malum fo ngala min ka chala to be honest at that point ako nya bari nim fra American be ka chala nka ko no problem so casual conversation no big deal ñoo konton ñoo bis burlo jajanta so mbe pleno fanko massive black ngamira tabe ñaare to ko something like that but man kata ñoo fon so we didn't get to communicate in the plane so bodaje nada nante tara Atlanta ito tara DC so mbije ay ko dundu akonya ko ngam mo mi meno Senegal ko ke kon nta ha ito nya akonya ko lafta nga kule kacha nka ha akonya nka no problem akonya ko Alex struggle wali akata baake al borom burunta ale kunya ko beleke akonya ko puto kudwal mam nka akonya bari nte bota Gambia le akonya ndunga ami fana nga safle for some time ani training school fango sojar mi tata through mi yasiat akonya training school fango to akonya state guard fana telem commandant ninje ala credentials will be explain how what he did akonya ko so nga kuja ballo ko akonya bari angamira kuli clean be jemi an kalmal nya fay woto kay min wota akonya ko kido le sen kan no bonno akonya kido drone ko do sa bonno akonya ali ala wo almalo wo wol dorno akonya kalma ali akatalde akonya bante nga foy ko nalman kido ta nim ko de fenken so I listen to him kuma be po del tan kay lamina akonya kay reko kuma fu jande nga kido akonya nga mo kido bon la mun tole nga kala la fa mo bolom do ga Gambian o kelo ayo dia bolo woti de nga wata possible no la akonya ko no
isa hekadu don pour janni betente na pour mol men yalan koy mala mem lamin sanadi lamin sane was adabe no mol kono men nyatun ka kenun wo sojaru dantangol men yalan ko len natun Gambia ka boy state house kan December 2014 so that melu men malong they can keep track of the conversation.
Yeah, that's good.
Asanya alba kacha kono isi tendeng
isi. Yeah, so ngako wode wolam do ko de ngako be pare fanan kelo fanan kay yalla mol kelo ma easy lamin ngay ko mansila kelo ngay bar mol le kad ka fe ni la kelo kono ngay so kelo ko dia molom de atra before attend not the conversation so to fam sigala brother siga jang la brother ka fay ko jaga jang Ndaga is a good personal friend. St. Augustine's, I seen you by 1 year. So, but na close to it. I like le for no good yet. Ndaga haron han Facebook ni entela kumo madron jaga ka na dia ba battle. So, ada sister friend nana ada sister friend be vice chair at STGDP in cafe on yaman organization. So, ni siga close to back she was like a sister. We could talk every day hours. ntol la ko be ñokono nanda Atlanta ntol la katara boyen ka wuli so ni close ta bakere en sa le family wo nyama dal so this tara siga ya lundol wat na tado lam kontra retreat la proka to discuss the struggle and what we need to know waron ko kelen ka retreat so tay nda ngo silo nga ka siga ya jina Kentucky so ara ni jaga be steering so jaga bat le fumo be finita na be steering basement or ji akonyo bro nka nam akonyo ko alman pare ga Yahya Jammeh boje nka wadi min ga mun pare yajo nka bor la fo bine sial yajo nka ko yajo bonno le sen ya sija nka kara fo nyawaye so dabo fan ko la je he is a good friend of mine so mo defante ja ko no akonyo la moy akonyo ko yalo kam fo malong ko la moy fo ngalan the list na long is in kan kam fo nka okay I want to hear this akonyo ko alipata ka Yahya Jammeh ba nka ga jaga ngolu pare wala kabirin dunia bi dial wala ka fa dikan ni why what kind of question is this akonyo ko say okay say mbaro ko mo ni rephrase nka ay mbaro akonyo ko so mante ni nka akonyo be statement kinna dile la lafte would really remember can I anything remember from our conversation nka I mean what any day alkala ka pare ka ya bonde jale pare kala nka akonyo ko kumande nka what do you mean nka mbe mbor mo min fo man ko pare la ko nyaani ko nyal man pare ko nyen ko wala foete ako yen ken ko kido do ban babon laji ako kido dal pata wal kala lol wonu nka ha ako ya tan ko kutla ko ma ako jentela mo promise di la bi la fi I remember ever ning al atata fal pare al kal pare ya bon la jele ye mul sto preta nka ha ako nyen kumande ako yen danu wo kanen kumande ako maria fo mul sto kumande nga okay no problem so ba different ngala ko foolish nda bulle I didn't take it seriously honestly ngel to nga okay no problem so nga ko woni dan liggey anda fana ka ba fana yede nyama man kuma la kan man fenke la kan jam je tolo so ni sana be ndia mola sana is literally saying the same thing nka go sana nka sa mi kire mbar mira ko nyi ko la baake because I he didn't sana man la fa nga telephone bula without telling him yes mbakela so nka go sa in so time la let me think about this but in I want to get off the phone to be honest leva ka bodu telephone do mala fa ko jinn fan kata so mar telephone nyama sa mbula je fa some time drong ay ko ko take agonyo ko mbadi ka fanyo mbadi atum pa sanel tente mane so ka fanyo mbadi agonyo mbadi ne ko ka tay ko nyoko be mira la ko en kol bak bar sa memo mi lo kering ko yedum ka bun kolti agonyo ko ka bun ko buka sila ko nyen tolum mboli en tolum sila bal yallo kani nka man ke sila moti wallahi nka ko kam mira nyin ko la implication ko no ako kuti jako yente bole nyin bulalto ako yen la kidi keso folo na ko pam ako nye mombe join no wolbo siala ako ye kada sila wala fam ako nya no wanam telling ako so he started to reiterate ala credentials like pour min ke jani ni jelo nyami abeni state house fran lon nyami inside out security apparatus ni ngabelo nyami many things nga okay nga sa yimbe min kera mfo nsuko te ngan mira ko so I left, but on that day when I left the phone, I was minute caring. Kule ketade, yang call nang ya mole fawulunde. Nka mira jamalam. There was somebody in Minfa because what yala minga kentola. Ni yin batradi ya kulke. You get a call from the Gambia from sources. Ni anko kai from the security forces. Is afeko kulum fana ya bole ko tekede enye karlefa. So you sit there try to digest this because now you are sitting on information me and it's crazy. But I can't pandering by for maybe we are funk already because near party right away. So what would they for you more fun I cannot remember.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember a mole fun with a mole incident lamot. Mbige wrong. Ngamira 2-3 weeks later. Amang nefang ye do from fa. Nimbe lalla so barkabo kada. I sat down there and confessed, you know what? This is something in Jaga maybe coming for it makes perfect sense. Until bang nhaklo tanga tamani damandi. Because it's either we do this or we just play along. And more people are gonna die. More famine now. maybe saya minna maybe wala bela ban nanyum ko kono mobe fala jele one by one mbijetro I'm telling you anyam me fangode yeah another person the far what I from to the big public newsletter I wrote these things somewhere and I'll try to fetch them because I was trying to write something about it and sana kolna akojo ko banka kana akojo ko nko mimbe caring iba mo kanka akojo yo akojo ko altul alsija nka ko no sai mbe dami nda fam nka ngamira sai ilka min for sai is beginning to make sense nka ko spari mbato I need to think of some more few things nka so nga ko mira to dindin ro nka but I'm now beginning to gravitate towards you nka believe ka min for it makes sense mbije ya what nungo na balo kandirne de there was another killing this time when jagala call nka njaga konya nka ko you remember the conversation we had akonya ha nka ko there's somebody calling me about it nka ko he was a former army commander akonya ko yamira pareta bank nka pareta nka nyin be insist kan nyama kan kolon nyani nka no nyin pareta nka sa me min kela mbena apole la ale diam soldier to soldier ale ñu assess aliya jibe for really mobe ka min for beto akonya ko he
njaga jañ mi sojaro
ada US army ha ada US army so ngani ngan isane ko nka ko nga mol so mbena indus lal kacha al mo flotte ma nga jibe what we can do so ntere ngati ni njaga introduce chani njaga diam mbije njaga yan call na konya ko mole fanan bijang naka fenko game play online akonya naka training communication si fala bakel akonya ko mbadi amulaine akonya bari bani ka diama mbel la fa enyini kala fo shot iba alawlal pour nga no pass samana nka ko wel ya mari trust bank wo alaji barol nka ka ya mari trust ba akonya ha akonya she seems like a trustworthy guy nka okay niya bugam batam alaji long at that time I didn't even know him so nka ko niya trust nka ko nite ko nyemumula nga trust le nite fana mbo trust la nka ko so nite ko ya trust le then I trust your instincts nka de ni idea akude no problem so atinin alaji baro diam then ni sane diam dan ko raf sane ko say be min kala maybe we all need to meet nga singa ni ko kacha nyoka nka en fada mo klimbe ko men ko nam ala ile we have been ko ata ntin amad jani we were doing a lot of traveling kata Belgium, Brussels. We met with EU officials talking about discussing Gambia, Amnesty International, all these things. The deep stuff about the Gambia. Very, very, we are going all over the place. Because until London for a demonstration of Trafalgar Square. We are just, at this point, I'm dedicated fully to the struggle. I was fully dedicated to the struggle. Nado kudla ninga 2, 3, 4 days struggle na pam. I'm gone. Wado ninyentel report on a Monday nga wuli nga fani abafu atara dun tebe I was in Europe at that time. So because I fully dedicated myself to the struggle at this point. So nko kombe Amadou Skari Jane fana nabe fengo bagarra ni Amadou we had this conversation but never deep into it. Nga Amadou ko nka ko ni mole be diamola about a military solution. Nga ko these people I think they are deadly serious. Nga ko they are, I think he threatened. Akonya nka akonya okay no problem. So nka ko bare mbemil for meeting will organize la ni meeting will come, we sit down, we discuss it and we see what we can do. Akonya ko no problem. So Amadou fanam bot nan Tennessee natana. Alaji bot nan Tennessee afana natana. Ndaga bot nan Kentucky anatana Atlanta. Ibena to Atlanta to ngamit. So sana man nano so ngate call on a Skype call so abebe on Skype so nabe diamuka what was Skype be kere. So what of nyum WhatsApp man to follow. So nada so ngate call go nyama so abe Skype nate then we started to discuss the modalities, how we're going to raise funds, how to get the manpower, a lot of things. We discuss what military planning. So not of society, soldier retire, military planning entire put together. Until civilian or entering armored until we will go and try to raise the funds. So this was how we split the
responsibility.
The responsibility. So it all started planning in the Dakar. And then so Amadou contacted this guy in South Africa ka fa Conte Ablay Conte amere gunjurun ko la wodi atata waya pour ko jiwe fo ba ma ko ala ndri amalo travel kata Belgium wado do because we are using our own money lu fana linka ko nga koro race nga kedo jo ngatan because we shouldn't be spending our money be banko kelon so nada fa siga nada fa nyako ngamol lo mbatu na diamu babal mako no la paso so one of the mako 2000 something change dal so but sigal ni mari diamuta so kabidin ko be keren ko nka ko sigade kabrin ni na diam tan last time I molo call nka for race nka ko mbatu nga o mari call because nteni o mari as e wala mi chorno jansi nteni chorno jansi as tara ka diamo on the phone nada san call na politiko kacha nga Gambia ko kacha nsan activities ol faram tara min la nsa fa en tara la karlen mbata jen tara la karlen tara jen tara kete ko bin momi an ka sponsor ko wala isa fen ka be pare nga radio program of France in Senegal in those days me along ko radio station olom with another antenna pour ka news ta ka send into the Gambia antena ñi man na tabar na deal arrange with radio station in Senegal Kaolack so wolin kejo every month itol ka comme ko min be Gambia mo fal ni ku jawol ni ku ko be ka be for private Gambian no yela moy wala from Senegal because in that time wade ka ni freedom will be blocked la ni fat net ko le be blocked so this was our way of trying to beat all that so no fan ko nyama so atele ko sponsor no ko programme jo every month so na be nin cho na rapport no naka diam no na daman de baka about ko mi sifa la don kudo so na da fa ko batum fran ni we diam so amatara South Africa ni ke no diam jente ni cho no diam ta so mo ko tale ke so ni be military plan na dakan ni ke be fundraising ko wala but mbije lundo don because that was a stalemate chono ka yang kabi nga fate ate ko akonyi ko nte manta ko do la ko to nga planoji the plan that they have economy no do wala so ngoji ne ko ni mi diamo la ko ala fa plano jela yana ko do bondi telefon ko ko no ndo fa na plano bon ndo plano di la no without seeing the money so there was a stalemate so mbol traga can negotiate nda so the plan but I couldn't nda affect on to him nda ita no la because ini mo ko ko ante sinala behind the scenes nga eta natla so ndo wala nyama so they was stalemate le care no finally njaga lunkli ndo njaga nara nang ko akonyo ko ngamela ko ko sa sonata nga ko njaga ite ko akonyo ko ite ayam akonyo bankete amari lon akonyo xam nga borom afa yete de sura ko akoyete amari lon baga fa yedrong I put two and two together because siga lenten in fenga siga mun assistant so ko fa ni most like siga le batani ni introduce so anyway so ko ni fenga nyama so December 30 ala ni mala genesis I started trip really from there ranol perketa cool fenketa mode nata nata on the ground and kula kata manna sava so sita man succeed very I kuja bale faram fali struggle at the same time lives were lost sadly
but it's fascinating really bari ko nyum fanan kono iba ko tema leta mantoro inin ko mo mo sava fanko everything revolves around you because all the different parts will men be ba ko kono ibe that it la labante tele le mol connect tele call be process how did you move from planning stage to the point of ka decide ko sila mpare tele pour ka mol wulindi kata kanyi operation okay.
Well, that's the military end of it. What conversation of most of the time I was just getting updates mainly from Jaga. Jaga ko be kelna na san call. Afonya ngine form be kelten. So bari ntolo ko gibel non ko mo isa personal ko gibel ko mo as a military activity. It's a military and let them tell you advice the as far as sometimes I would raise concern about certain things here and there. In one meeting I raised some serious concerns about some few things, but inside of Kobe it's level as it relates to coming, what to do, when to do it, how to do it. For the most part. Yeah.
On the night of the attack, lungo sudo men boy keda. Ibenu mindole anatol men fanamba ko komanung albenu munela nung. What were you doing?
I entered Atlanta. I was there and kabring ko karam drong. Obviously, so I was waiting for word as to what was going to happen. So, but in BJ, the news that was coming in, Panderi was the one that was almost literally doing the live commentary, basically. He was saying what was happening and all these things. And then, I started on telling communication sort of malum from me at that point. So most of the things were coming from Pandiri. But in beginning, I sanela number the call, I telephone call. Coming out telephone call, somebody pick up the phone. Nika ko sana left the amla sanele. Ako sana ko nya blow mutarete mjamal. Nika ko ntelem Banka Manneh. Nika ko fire ko Banka Manneh la call. Another way I knew ko al telephone be nyindabul. So 125 nya manga telephone nya.
Nico Yalonka be Nunel Bulu, who are you referring to?
The soldiers, the Yalamol.
Yalamol, okay.
I knew right away I telephone Bitilo. Sana will not leave that telephone with anybody. So Kablo in Jabi Rongala want to go, yes. You come in for Kosane Pantalaban. Then afterwards another call sort of from somebody among the security forces, Konyoko. Any more be minute into them, basically will be a fatal. I come to do Canada, bari in don't fire. What we free be firing? Attending the Gala free be firing from college. Yeah. You brought in the state house, Mulka Tamba, if real thing. I couldn't free for the Aquania from in Anatalia kill attack on Canada. I don't want to see. So, well, where I could confirm your call. Yes, this is the thing. Aning Yahya Jammeh bango fanke so nga Yahya Jammeh so called UK nga fai ko Yahya Jammeh banda. So
yeah, I'm really sorry about that. But Molmen ba akoning kono. Did you get to know them, meet them in person before Operation Obekela?
No, man Yahya Jammeh meet na malong. Mang bailo ngolon no mitle in Germany, Hanover. Yes, a lot of these other guys more long. No, obviously, but Papa won't tell you the cocono. Papa Fall ate telephone ate recruit yes, so he's a personal friend, he's like a brother fana. And in so on the ground no for the other falling and some of those guys I'm all came through these other guys many
yeah. So I want us to get back to the but lafa ke sabadamento woloto mu suto nyinde su komen be keri ya folako information jama beji abe findikan num pandira karola. How did that come about? Ani mole be nyomo kan nunje bang for
I mean there was kabin ko imbe keka suto information be dunkan information be calling kekan but mo bo fana mal no meme keri no at that time han pandiri fana mal no meme keri kabin mo be al nako attack le be caring and and all that kind of stuff but mo be stop no yala nyin ko fana atata for I worry at the last minute because I had a funny feeling maybe I just had a very, very funny feeling about it. Maybe more people know about this than we know that they know. So it was going in a direction me along at that point. There was serious concern about Allah's secrecy, whether it really was airtight. So I think he had these sources. I had sources in the State House. Because I know some of these sources. Me and right away contact so he was getting good information too.
So lafa ke nyini ngam fana alla planning nyin kono galane ko birin ko nyin keta fen jamala keta sanji jamala tambita sayin based on yemen be moy based on kisi sulon men be keta kola ko nyin alla katita min tole why did things go wrong ila miroto because
No.
niaje ngofo akamta ko nyimol men ye bon kanke akamta ko jambe na la mol be yilla kan yi kambale. It looked like you know your personal ni kambaye la nyala la ni kambe na te dunta wala kono.
I
So
don't think ye nyille kamale like people think ye nyille kamanyami. Because you need to state house nyami. Ye position to those state house nyami. It was new Soger Jama Babi, they were taken off guard. Nathan Abenu Yam, come in ye pare Cameron Wale, then coming Bunara blows then he blows it at you. But you need to state house lay cool category. Then you know the guy maybe tower to Santo, will prostate the Karaja can shoot now from the top. Yellow lives or lose one. But Soger Jama Babi, they were very caught because after I was talking to a lot of soldiers, me and Kobe on that night. We are caught off guard by this.
So you didn't tell us
it's service from compound of Uncle ye forward from in jail. I went up to the spot where exactly you would that. But you know, so but I think I believe like because knowing Jaga and knowing Sane, Imanta Pukara Kelelaji, Itoria Mira Nitaraji, Sanitano, basically you disarm and then everything will go peacefully. Naturally, alone they will be confronted with such gunfire and the massive firepower being along I bendu in that alleyway from Horto Dolopti. So could be state of the Majaka Dunami no Horta. Allo Sidan no make a Dunan Jeleta neighbor security Kanari or Horto Konaji. Yeah, so you know obviously in Jago State House long. So Cabri Sane Fadrong at him you know, Cabri Sane Fatima Amalon found because Sanel follow far. At he's a man blind. He was not familiar with State House. So according to the mall member in that night, yeah. So, but it only because imanta apukara mo fala, imanta apukara kelela. Ni tala apukara mo fala ni kelo in some of mid nanji. Coming from one thing because Kidja will be bull. Many uncle they were fully loaded. Ammunition of the bull parading. But I tell Namiri, I'm telling you, okay, come in Sanela concept was Kujame, it was so horrible that these people would they will meet us as liberators instead of enemies. So
I don't know how much information they mentioned. So 5 more sort of like
yes. I also to jail. I didn't mold the I don't want to get into certain things.
No, you don't have to say the names, yeah.
Yeah. But he was talking to Allah. I'm going to more flafound. Mojama Bafang. And then Mojama Babi Diamkan. Because I've been in Army, he was a commander at the State House. He was from Kobante Amina Babi. It's a Cabria Koning Etinia Kandrong. Ye from Falun Coconut. I mean, that. But no, he was talking to a lot. He was talking to a lot of people.
So personally, how did you feel? Ulunga wo ko nyin keta anata ko imako silande ngayila nun ko nyama mantara taka wo nyama. You know, mune nate miro kono usuro.
Nante mo usuro sino, obviously, because I was, you know, again, I wasn't sure really what was going on. Malon for whether they are dead or alive. Malon. So I was really nervous. But obviously at that point, because you fanam banta juna, ala kene ala bango tereta bakele. So, but in my gut, I felt at that point I felt that because konyum banta nyaming, it's like okay, either you arrest or you fall, but I won't succeed. I feel that. So at that point I knew that. So
Ngala start like you told for. Bari mol men ya nyatun ka ite wolonne ise mune fono moli Gambianoli about those people. What do you want people to remember about them, or what do you personally remember about them? Your fallen colleagues mol men ya lonko woleli idadu nyinko kono in yonata tuje.
No, it is a sacrifice. Yalo ni mol mang Gambianolu kanyina juna bakele, and that's very dangerous because yalo ni mo kanyina. Problem mi yad ni no kono wala mi yad ni problem kono o nyina kilima kana another problem kono mul ka nyina ba kele in those days, it was so terrible. It was not even funny. In these people, narake mo le mi alonko, imang stakes sort of found in this affair. Lamin sane, the asylum will be in America. And al dimba le he could just say, you know what, mo benara nyami asylum was don't fanang ye kodi Gambia le bela hajo to prokan. Mfana bole kala life goes on. He didn't do that. Njaga was successful in the US Army. At retirement now, but that's all he was doing. He had it good. And I'll dimbale baby America. Hana uluba from Brungian. It's all a family baby himself. So this guy had no reason. Nim coming more of selfishness. Look at that in Gambia court. I want to go from California. Like California ko. Intel ning ko bantal coming na banta somanda wrong for you security power wrong. Ako into next flight. I'm coming flying back. Ate fair kata like pampa my time na murna. Penke Papa Fall. Vacation ticket I will sang. Akara holiday. Marawin ka holiday contract nim parel wrong na sena. This is it mindset me ni ka Gambia. This is literally how they were thinking. Kongana jile pat wrong into product na sena. So in other words, it told they were going to go and make this change and leave and come back. It'll continue their lives. This is what they wanted to do. This was literally what they wanted to do. And I'm sure, I mean, Alhaji had the same goals. Because exhibiting at the time, he was doing it for any selfish reason. No. He was literally doing it because he cares deeply about his country. He had a very good job. For quality control guy number, something like that in some place. He had a good job. He had a decent, he was getting decent pay. He could literally forget Gambia and life to go. So I will blame it. Sane, he say coming after that. So Rajan, multi-millionaire. He's a very successful real estate mogul in the US. Homes or neighborhood la whole bill. So could have I know Korea be believe Israel in Gambia. For ya Kodal Lojane, you can holiday later enjoy it. So Ibella goals all were noble. So go and bring about the change that we desperately needed at the time. And willing to give up their lives for it. So ning mo ala life risk ko nyama. People will follow our marriage, really. Other than thank you for putting your life on the line. That's all. It's what I'm for no marry because I'm way serious stuff. Mom pareka new la minto as a phone or neology. What else do you want from that person? So what is to me that's a big deal. Because struggle to me the struggle was my baby. I was born demonstration or organized in New York, demonstration everywhere. Atlanta New York Washington DC London Brussels we are just traveling to protest. The advocates are meeting officials, discussing with them. The fundraising that's that was our life. Personally, that was even my life. That's what I was doing. So, and Cabrera man give up still. Means a lot of demonstration organized. So, Kodomin kita proof demonstration on race in the US. Wofanantara duga mole a coach wala grupo in DC. Na explain your demonstration kana kede. So analysis mako no kodo to nga mbemi kile proof protest. So no kodo penkawele kodo nanga kile proof solo. So what no demonstration someone that phone solo we on the phone back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, I know kukolendemu molu niyo tuta quote kuto drong kukolembalem, and I can imagine for you ite nyun lonne inika diamle nung ale ferol besiti nyokamba. So it must be very difficult. Bari fansi nyinin ka fanang mol sort of many alonko woluko ila miroto ke muna fan sembola fenne me alonko manyan na kelanung doliya ko bayfang doliya ko manendi ni sita bi ye nyin ko jibe ko me alan ko wala keta men keta attack nyindi men keta ko men fana nata la ko nyin koma fe ka sila bang yen ni misa ako nyin na bang, or do you think it is something me alan ko it was the right thing to do it, you feel that it was justified?
Yes, it was the right thing to do under the circumstance. Yala whole, and I've made this argument all over the place, including even at QTV. Yala mbije mulka nyina minna, okay. South Africa may come with Mandela. Yeah, surrounded 27 years. A maximum political activity that yeah, surrounded literally for terrorism charges. You also have to against it. I bomo I want to have a whole plant now America mika mo nyam ete be JB alhamdulillah rabbil alamin be tinem be kono bi George Washington wol mi ya kele ni e mem ye kulida mem kedo ni fail tan dan be execute George Washington ala kewala ala mol be chew revolution solo e kilo ni ke bulta ka kelo. So I can go through list after list after list of everywhere where the benefits we are all living came about from these 5 kind of situations where Molly and you put on the line in ways me alonko literally we luale violate to do what they needed to do. So back ko nien tolta jibe the biggest vindication near jibe for December 30th came with the economic presence here. Kido na Yahya Jammeh bondiji. So Njaga wasn't wrong, Nsane wasn't wrong. Ika kumo imfono if ila saya kola mol na raya ka raspe ka mimfono is true. Because tolo kido rebe jinken no bondiji kido la bondiji. Momo kido la role taya bondi yala bondo to Gambia denite malo min keta. Kido la bondiji. Election o ketale ya ko manta janin jang. Nin kido kidi tulu manna mina hansa man tartala jang. Na bi jang. Ngo ya aksidala ko election ya sunya la ka manta janin jang. Ande no manta lan janin jang. Metara chocholo kono jang hani bi. But kido yole nyika nyini these people came literally with guns drawn. Eko nyine ko nikay ko di mambo jang bi yellow bonal. That's how he left. So kido la bondiji.
Yeah.
So what kido nyini kabim fonon ko kido do sambure kido do sabonde then they were right all along. Kido do sa bonno je. Kido le fana ya bondiji.
Yeah.
Godol man bimbe na jani o tema be sacrifice on le mialan ko mote ninte mi solo sanden wala han wo somandan nin solo be diamula solo ka kumul min bonda da kono mfalli jatol le be jimbanko ka ke kendo le be jam mol mi alon ko yi preda pour ka fewo fendi la banko ka everything risk pour la banko ni mol ka fewo gammenol ha selfish tale gammenol fenkede no wote hansa ni gammenol min be ka blokko kon wolle selfish ta kare gammenol bi mi alon ko de ya ni mo patriot selected and they are the most honest, most decent, most patriotic Gambians you will ever find. So lo findi kalomena he knew ko abeluat nyaka you know bara ko nyele ko nyin tumando bi atento le betula mbedi yo tla jele akonyo bar ni wol bat nag na banko be bola jin kono akonyo to bi be fara fonyete. This was his last statement to be. Nga ko solo bara dinal tan aliya ke ko aliya fega konye konko konye mane en kay nam akonye kon nyini ben banko bon lambe min kon akonye tumene be ben tul be fara jani bi akonye bar nyini bom bon banko bon la je bi akonye bi be fara anda fanya na kero yama raja niyo di bar banko fele ba Gambia bi nyente monument so le name la after these people.
Yeah.
Nyente monument sol nyente wala name la silol name after them ka ba solo something highway ika for Njaga Jang road whatever Njaga Jang street I don't know Lamin Sane Tower I don't know name whatever dindi wol mimbe wulu kam bi yentale ni wulta bi kay to moy di lola mol kala yele hero sol ka nyamin ila kan ko jata jatul ka nyamin Nelson Mandela ka fu nyamin South Africa ika nyim Angleterre wol Frankela mol mi kelol ke anim pa America kala mol ike kiliman nyamat nda ko ke nyami ne Gambia fana bi janne nge tol kilimandi ite barna je hani nyim political party leaders wol mi kebe geta Ousainou Darboe Oje Diallo wol Halifa Sallah wol ñi be sacrifice balle make Sidia Jatta wol mi anon ko they could have easily lost their lives very easy alinge be celebrate political differences be jele we can have that inte dise sinole ede ta party A inte ta party B man dia fango makul bukatano that's fine but in kana nyona kar momo la jumi ngadia momo la hakomin ngadia la nini mi jatol jatol
ngadia la. Thank you very much Banka Manneh bedwala fanam for se futa tembe do melan ko molbe te fana na hako dilela katung yesanji jamale ke nyin kelo kono yesanji jamale ke nyin struggle kono ko jamale yalo nyamen na yasata nyamen ngamira mbela moy nyola anyabo warta bake hani bi pour la moy lal drong albela moy kam Bitilo la to membe moy ka radio to Gambia banko kam albe moy kam Vibes FM le 106.1 FM atol mem fanam ben jibe kan blalto internet auto mo keme kemol ben jibe kan YouTube nim Facebook nza fale ko albe Bitilo len sal dani fanam also subscribe na channel o resaje ni nga ñi ñong kata si val dati alse ke mo fulol timen basot la bar fanan alsem mako no lo fanan nal subscribe da fana ka kebaro ñi jango fanan sone andi mbule banka la fa ke ñi nga menna pour nga ñi December 30 ko kum fa jang alaf hamo munu muneti nim fali ngo ketanu Gambia wulu ngo suto la December karotil tan sabani kilingola I hamo munu muneti pour December January karotil follow Gambia January karotil follow la munebe kamune jenu Gambia.
Well, there was already a government Nialanko was put together. Penkolu watudum fang the whole idea of ushering in a new system of democracy will be for the whole colony. And
men parendi banko men be banko tamandela
told sapatale on paper. Pour mol melan ko le banko taman la adanga yenda tamala nyamin anin ko sifal ku jabal safraji ebe apon sifa frambe kala jama babije transition program will kada dale by everyone who is engaging in this kind of stuff. So all safa ni ko transition document wala wakata be kata so
ite ni palate so wo kono anin ni safa no mole nebi jumale be nyaton kaato ni atra you want to talk about that.
No abla jo yawa.
Okay.
Okay.
But was it like was it like a council or was it more kunkilina lebeje yemen ke blaldo?
No, coming government be nyamin tendro.
Okay.
Parolo government be nyamin ten. Moli president to moli tra minister ala ni osifa. Not like a ruling council or anything like that. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So ngaje biring nying December 30th botala, Jammeh fintita ay diamo ka kola ko bela kenebato teleto diamol keta and all of that. Ngaje fanang as part of the kolumen nata wulwa kono modolu nata muta America banko kan hani Gambia fango ye modolu muta le ye ko ya dati ke kidindi ite la karola America banko kan inata muta kono I arresta ngamira inata ye samba kidiola isa fo moli wo processo be keta nyamen anum fanan mun kolya kule fanan mi finditete wo ko be kono kabirin arrest du latem bam fokkiti bu kono kata fo sorondiro nyin kono
America ningi sifa keta itol America banko luwa banko walti so ne luwa tinya be muta be sorona so which is what they did. I mean mutale kitindi in charge and kitindi bari kitio kono telephone nata kulide nata kulije kul kono inara investigation kele ya jeko yara fan min kata nyilla nakran telephone na denu frambe gulan nyin ko wala America will phone alone because nintala report me and some dandang prison report me jojo fo ya safen tele karola mam nyi do tajire ban tele report me federal prison to federal prison fan ko nyin ko nye prison warden no nyim fo kala fan meeting. So mpura the end process which is very difficult because the case triple make it ye balabani fa e wuro nyami ke wuro nyami then ni pareta it's a very intimate search coming here kabim fengere yenna prison fongol dina ngedun wrong e ko nyako prison warden ni kala fe jera son tada na na sita na nyo ko nyako itana dem ina na ngi jam nga ko no well yan soro leko akonye because jojo means of the photo it's very impressive konye ko ma agreement akonye bari I have a lot of respect for you because you are, you know, I hope ila more be appreciate la yani. Well, so bari na rajan teng, yos maku, imanta mera jang, they behave, nyemolo ba fale be dun dila kul konole, kana so yedun comme ay kay yamar dal. Short time ale muti, ina time okay say, and you go it a life you build. Because nga life be dami, niya be destroy life, be mess up. So go back and rebuild your life. Okay, no problem. I'll do that. So mbiji won nyame in sabab life tankoto, sell out. So mbe privilege ning somanda subasite yung kuni 4 AM nga wuli nga nga sali para dasa mula da dasa mula nga ta rek yard minto exercise la minto nga ta exercise la je mbije ning jode ni ken no do bije yata solo for many years 35-40 years or something like that ni wona ta la nyobul so o kan karande alquran wala je dem hafiz wal so banko nata join Islamic group of among the Muslims. Prison is very dangerous. Because maybe they associate with some group. So one big gang on it. So either you are a gang member or you're in a religious fraternity or you are in, but you have to be part of some group. So that ni ku ka be kelela wala be particular. Any more problems or wala be la we negotiate out of it. Because as far as if you are a member of that group, ni mo marek I will. So you have to associate it. So because it's a very dangerous place. People have gotten stabbed in front of me. Very serious in California. So it's a very, very dangerous place. So you know, then I came out. It wasn't easy. You lose everything. Yeah, but I came here like okay, I'm still alive. Nte dimbala kanjene indono mimbanda wala dimbal meje ila family meje so wala sacrifice ni o mira wala do kal do ko tama ke fent
yeah
you know yeah
no,
so
no la fay ñinin kala wala prison kole ata bakere fo wadi sotta moment na ibo bata kono isi tay kumata ko ñinde ni ngalo nun takela
no namanan si ñi regret because yalla banko imagine sa Gambia mbijan sa alhamdulillah rabbil alamin we have a democracy baro fele jang alhamdulillah whether you agree with him or not nabe sirin kairo kono momo min diate ba fola political parties will operate kan ñel fa operate la ñami you know say han police of ngay mota pass mbe nga wuli nga chocho bakaran ka wala o ko investigate ka chali ka ko nga jiwe ba solf la ñami man sekunda fanan you know nim mol be wur kamela ko wala mol be complain kan freely ibukata mota be mo arrest mo tochola momo min diate ba fola say mo be kala ke ken fo banko kan nka say banko be kala ke ken do nim na diere mi sia fenke nim baro ba man kan you can disagree with him but at least you know we all are living peacefully together and we are moving at what pace people can disagree with that mol fanan min la fasi ya be ko tel said can do a better job mol fanan be campagne kan ne pour carry peace alhamdulillah rabbil alamin la fajina la alday be ba ke kan without fear man tara selain fo fa naji so ñimu
fele mo ani yilla no mema Gambia mas bimbe wala kono ay wala wulu
bimbe wala kono exactly nta dem wala kono ko ha e buka fem fo baro e buka kete ko nta kam min kelo non kam min duwane ndolo kono say say alhamdulillah this is what we wanted ko dia after fanka sijal ba wurla barote abi diarne so ntilo ka ñine duwanu nta fo be jang alhamdulillah ben karo kono be ñoo yaayala be ñoo ne la banko ba do man kan ñoo fi dim banko ko lata sa fono na man nafsi na dafa ya fono min diate ya fono bisa bin ila min kala ya ken alhamdulillah so now we just build on that so mo ya mira ko tese you do better job than Barrow if na na ye if ila na fo fay luwo kono ene mbirol ye alsiso fa ñola nga jibe min boyndi la banko be diare alhamdulillah mo kara mo ka ñoy mo jawti na fa nga ñoy ya kan nga ñu so ko be nga janja ko don nam yeah
Kebama definitely yes infal mentable woko na ñata bake definitely ya bele di Gambia la so la fake ñininka menna fos wato dul be je ni sita Yala ne solo sande nyol fole ani nyi mol men ni toji ite fon kunnigo. Do you feel like alien men di Gambia la tumando bado molu nyanta al jose la nyamang al mantra ko sotoje?
Yala ite ka jibe ni ba jibe la ite ka jibe tenne ko okay faran you aspirational sort of about your country. There's a being or kill on franke. There is a country I mean imagine in our heads, Mobi, that can be seen coming can see ball and for left bank keten. So frustration on take call feel sometimes, but for a man see back follow like a kind which is you want to be part of the bigger effort to really if I mean how many you'll push no ya keno. So ni yaje coming ima embrace you sort of no put karano ko doli kenotro you get frustrated but you can't give it fananko okay at least the bigger picture is mena karo kono banko be diarde mo be karo sto kanne mo be la business or ke kanne mo be ko sto kan ken defa alhamdulillah ni wala karo mun la karo mo be mun karo mun barola karo mun la karo nate karo sto la karo sto indon farani ek mo bije na karo sto la karo because a karo te kar I said do that korara fo kairo fa jar fan naslo so ndika jibete so I don't mbuka sika foko yantan kerete mankaten even though there are a lot of struggle members me and definitely nimbela fila no pungaje woletra prasol to fanela ila mirror taman no bankoy mbel fla ko dol yeri ngo dol ko kumbo lal to nga fon an say mang movement jew karola because say me dami mol kanyo jibela ko ni man tra yadro te dum lana kolkol and nyimanta kala mobe treya mobe trano la nyoya all you need is mobe tra ngane kilingola ngani yol manke political party don't do biji amam pare ka do kolkono because you know woman ka kala siloti do biji woman do kolkono because anin mobe le badia sto relationship to man la fi ndo yaje ko man trante ya be career do biji bambe banku dindine that is very close so more reasonable for not ka join ko kono e faramansa je wurje the reasonable can be totally different. So for mo embrace original kan nkana je ko jaw yalla wala ñoo hasidi yalla wala ñoo kelolo wala you know ñoo konnante yalla ben tema amanya na kelawte tol man tol ñoo konno la manya na ñoo konna fana in say disagree para kana kutawto because ni after ndota drong mbe ñoo la silo le fala ana nitel nite la silo fa bi sama be mbatandi la ne nitem falle kusto bi intel la karo ngoti adiate akwete fa foga bulatine kono so fonga nyoya yawo nyama momos nyo makono mine ya makwera momos nyo silo mi wala no nyo wala ngoy banko yurwa mbenga yurwa isa yenen sida dadan ka jojen ka finyo ko to alhamdulillah rabbil alamin bara kana rika do karle asto karle bala fa mo de karle be karle bafru do de karle min de karle nyin ninga miro nyama dron then that means be konante ya mbe wala dunde kan so mo ko nyoe anno kala banko fo tano sa banko sifa mulka ko bere kate buka kaje banko buka tano mulka jahali ka fumina banko mantano but because of konante ya min be nyoe because ya min tatinya imalon ko tatinya nya lumine yo tatinya to e fran tatinya nya lumine yo fondal do te fanam fotala won so mol buka jamol falli ke je mira tubabol le siatul jibe tubabol ko jere be nyonyami hani be do ko labi ni boss ya ko nyin ala ko saja akete mentote abe makora abe bundal yelele abe dun la dulato abe fenkra jam abe sulu walanne obe pro ala ta jelele ibe kato minna ay sulu wala ya ko ye kunno par jang jele dasta banu da struggle ni alhamdulillah gani kilmo mi yen samba fayim tandim frère dami o ngana kilmo nyanta continuer la kana ko kudoti yes still I have immense love and respect for everyone who participated in that struggle I really do I genuinely do nye bele kanu bele kodi atani kabiri man sakunda mol barona la mol ba for opposition auto bang dabol ni ali fo ni don be chaw amal bawol I have no ill feeling towards anybody I love them like I did yesterday golla tam benga banko benga nyo kanu nga disagree momo e minje yaji ko manta taka silo le lono yafo momo ya mere ko se binno yena yel non mo ye fere campagne ko mobe campagne ko nyami ni winte te banko ta ngi fana na be jibe that's all I want o banko sifa is the dream wala na aspiration oti and ngi min be fana fata ten ngi min be paraje par mar jawarol min be tocho nyogo nyaay wala min ye ku jawol le kan fadu bobe camera wol wani tan kol mo be cew mi an ko batal so je cew ibe ngene mula sulo to ngene mula sa ta masimati so wala nim tankata nga ke be bulan na duwal kono nga le be fe nse koko keno pour ka meso wala jada kanja minti anila sulo minti mfana ngo bunda ko ben this is very very important really
kabrin follow kera 2017 kana bula bila follow me nyini ngala men did the government offer you any positions ministerial aning foyata la bam foy mata ni mune osabu killing flanjang fana mendi huh
yeah go ahead
no lafta folale in terms of the politics because ngajele fana bilim fani ngokera mo jamal fana nara e kafta political party kang dole political party lo dole presidential nyini fo kafta mennade kan ka fay ko pour ifana e dabla politico kono because ya dara jo sotole ya experience sotole akano banko e yo fana sotole fo mol sotole fana men ya lonko inata ko laftale yeke yeke nye presidential candidate ban ka banko nyini
no mol kay mol bina xane every day nte xane bi mol be approach kan ne dole fa nga join party dole nga party lead dole fa nga keteng dole nga fa nga I mean, every day, so sign from Mala Milbe Kerende, Kadusao, Kolol Minkaduna every day, non la Fanesi, Ekachaya, and Fangakating them. A set back is too many. But eventually, most likely in Bendan political corolla, but I'm a Santi followed. Because Nitafana make Simfanyal Takan Kudu le follow. Funga or Tangol, Napare will do Langana focus no Kudul Kon. Niko de kara distract le ni be ikobe kudo kale ñu kudo ke jana distraction yo kana son e haklo kata jajjante ni haklo jajjante kudo la rek yenda kudo min kala ya asim fat nya min tama je ani pour ka ko to benno ani ina to timmanoje abkana keno nyam so for time ta ye yo sim fanyal ta follow ni perta resna na ñu kudo fana bu la ko so eventually I will but sign to follow so mbo ngawla fo mobi
so Nico signed in 2016 de falande 2026, sorry.
2026. 2026. I don't. Yeah, 26 be jamfaring back. Political form be kere ma understand because to me political be start kan juna ba back. Because 2026 be jamfaring de December. Go be jamfaring ba back. So nim tol ben dabla ku kono fanan. Maybe abika around September, August, September lo kono jarat. Abika ma fon let. So batara sign most of okay sign ngamira sendam no diamo ko
Bitilo la ne jibe loke Gambia political kenola bi jumalel beje safu men la ko e nyabale and then you have admiration and trust for them.
Look, that's a very good question. Yalan Gambia political benyaming in politics is driven more by personal relationships nimol temo mimbije because the issues ni ko be issues on le fala ikajele ko mola issues on mom fata baake o nyama because political platforms on mi ike moy a political platform ye lo nyaadi le me long about their platforms ni Gambia GBP ipo political platform nam doy le fon ke o ta fon ji ya ko doy na this they approach this what they were there but you don't be chew the platform they are similar they are very ipo ka long fon for you don't see any difference as far as what they intend to do and how they intend to approach. In America, right away, if I see you, I can almost be certain you are a Democrat. Because now the Democrats are issues on minty and how those align with Italy interests. Right? And so people, individuals near more sometimes near more on from racial background from religion, you can even guess about politics is driven more by personal relationships. In India, because the issues because more the platform I mean, literally everybody is saying the same thing. How they are going to do it? Because for a fango, it about Keno Nyadi, it about Leptanal Mia, Boros to J, Boro Serli Nyami. It could Momo Leptana Boros to Lan. It about Kurobula Muntole. Tell me that. Mbe Fanke Atudum Fang more million killing a thing. How are you going to get the money? free education, university, all the way to university for all the kids in the Gambia. These things cost money. Iba ko do bon la mun tole. Mba make sure man boto nga dajindi to $1,000. How are you going to do that? Because maybe the science center na France okay no science center bakela. Ni ka fodro no man bodo mba dajindi ya dajindi. Dajindi kabiri. But these things, they are serious policies me alonko. Funny mole see yeah for mole exactly. Ite why are you so different? Ite mini different minila. Muna na mumbi je miento bon la jengi ite keji. Nina mantra caring in Gambian na conversation of money right now. Amas moment focus at all. Kuma kino doron corruption sembo wala nyamba kele. Jam mobe ita si debe corruption stop la nyadile. What are you going to do? Because just to tell me ko ite manda corruption okela. But na nge trust with corruption. Mini bije ika fa minna ko les corruption lake. E wal fa de wala fa kudu, bari ba bi ta ba flo corruption. So ite ba ni ka corruption min for side bo stop la nyadile. What are you ibe sim fa da nyadile tala. Na fodo na ka keno. Anu ite ta fa la bi. So this is the thing. So nte wana ni mole ngini ka fo ne ko still I'm even struggling with that. So it's because until a political benyaming malaf katara we kantan wrong we karaman bete karla personal fen quality time wasi fa na mari tara je ama commitment je ama fa ya be minkela ma fa ta minkela ma fa ba kala nyaadi nara ya na ko ke sama it disappointment ye fa lake because we woman kuma senendila from the beginning. So you know problem what. So right now that is what I am wrestling with. So question, I cannot tell you for sure because that's what I'm wrestling with. All I know for now is what Barrow is doing. Like still saying at least I've said back from before. Kujababi improve karne, but there is a lot of problems on many other areas. Fix that. So it's a mixed bag. So but if money more miracle they have a better strategy and a better deal and a better come out. Yeah, but you're explaining how long, okay, yo jibe ko okay, yeah, that makes sense. Maybe what else na Maria for madukare maybe you have an idea more of not try jibe. But for now, they need to come out more be kind of more drunk called carrying in Karimaka. No, it did not get a minute back. How are you going to do it?
It's important.
Yeah. What is very, very important.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kotoke, Uncle Banka Manneh, content and sewota. Yes, sort of Bitilo jang kata kachanying anyinyata atakuta akono fanuta nga kuja makaranje halin dafa kundi nga kuja makaranje cool meni alonko wolle be dending nying kelola ani nying bata mol nin koleal meni alonko mul fane wala taki kaje kore Gambia yebo o maralo kono maranya jawo nying emantu koma ko nying kono ko nga fa nyaming nyabo jamala be la koto me alonko ndefango kundigo I respect you for that but bi fango ngemo ite nyaming anin ko mu fango safo fanko I na respect ko ite la karola la fale kende ke fango because ko nyimbe dadita nyaming iba ko konole ye batal nin kole amen be takin be la ngaje to nyalla nyin struggle kono menu batata je menu nietuta je menu torata je mena nafulo kasara siata bari nimbo woluk fola ita fanante tular koma inshallah nadiata alay ka fo doron ko baraka bake yekata kol menke katung yalong diamo kasiale modul be jele koku foise mol so de men yalong ko e be tarla diamo e karakote ngola bari kol yalum men yalong ko moli e taki ni tam mam bula wo mari nyol la kol ya kono ndema mi rafanen e nyanta ke mari nyol la kol ya ta ka doyandi so I think you can support whoever you want but men fana yalong ko ye kol ya taki ya balu ni ba fala fanan nyanta la nge la moy nyanta la fanan nge respect akam. That is how I view the things. So mo jamal ben jibe kang mo keme kemolu ajama beje YouTube fango nyintembenna. A lot of people are watching and reacting. Nga mo soto jangi kafme ko wasafati wako bro banka thanks a lot. Nga Abubakar El Fadera soto ben jibe kang Facebook. Akomfali I used to listen to him on Fatu Radio during the struggle 2025 to 2026 and I remember when he was at the radio before he was also going to jail. This is from Abubakar El Fadera ufanambela AGB kang ngamo sore jam mem bota e ka fam fane ko nyancho muso ufananko you did your part in Gambian politics. Ufanam, thanking you ke jayi ke kontong ye kata kolu menke banku doko la karola. Me do fanam be jibe kam Facebook Mamadou Sane ufanam ko we never forgive you Yahya Jammeh. Monica Jeng wako it was so sad. I think she's referring to kolealo nin kota kol men yalon ko wollelu sotata je ngamo soto jang ikafme ko TTSSF o fanam ben jibe ka YouTube le ateko there was no question Banka was disappointed at the outcome of the operation. Ako did it cross your mind at the time that such an outcome was inevitable given the level of preparation? So we have a lot of people, many alonko been jibekang and then mobe bala miro satakang kuolu tanyato a lot of people, many alonko ba ko fo kanje. But ngal beje ngal tentu atol many alonko alessa feroke kal dabula kachakono alaji dabo ufanambe YouTube lako Banka is a patriot, so a lot of people are really fascinated about your story and in katakol many alonko wollel keraje atol membebe njibe kal be saferoke kan safale ko ala baraka nyindoko Banka is a legend. This is from Yankuba Jaune Karamo Drame Nyolu. Banka, you are a Gambian hero. But one last question from Karamo Njai do member Njibeka YouTube. I could ask him about third term. What is your position on that weke?
No, I'm a big proponent of term limits. I am a big proponent of term limits. I want term limits, and I want 2 term limits. Really. So the way I look at it, ndika jinyami, wala indiko ni mo 2 terms served wrong. I enter banko tala I do from tamand. So now la for lon na position of minti term to yes. Nimbaro ronta fanan loi master parade. I mean constitutional manfem mavugata ron la saman luatinya among koko in those terms. But come in personal question and fonte from the madam term no mantra term quoto. I'm a proponent of 2 terms.
2 terms. Okay. Baraka bake mbadingolu ngal beje ngal tentu alnal badi malum falli federa Bitilo lam safale ko bawo ngal soto jang al se subscribe na YouTube channel ro nal subscribe ta belon membe abala subscription button bala nal ya ma drum ni wato wati nga kibaro dati ni nga documentary dundi nga do fa soto kuta kuto me alon ka binakan abedendi menna wole mu 1994 coup d'etat nyinti obe finti la nyilungol kono nanyi mini documentary series nga menketeng anim fanan ninga breaking news coverage so ku kutol men yalan ko lel kadun kannan be kalle kala ning nata online wrong na subscribe ta albe notification so la kal kalamatandi alama tilo to diala alama be tan kala katani karato la wassalam ala baraka. Thank you very much. Thank you.